Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Keeping things ship shape on the working waterfront in our beautiful harbor city. All that and more on today's Go Island. On today's show, Compassion Farm in Lanceville is on the market, llamas on the beach in Colwood, and opera finds a voice in Victoria. That and more in the next 30 minutes. On today's Go Island, we're going to spend a couple of hours with the Nanaimo Port Authority's Harbour Patrol, finding out what their federal responsibility is in keeping the waters safe and operable here in the beautiful harbour city. Meanwhile, Jocelyn and Matt, we had a chance to speak with Nicole Shaw and Dirk Becker. They have a farm in Lanceville. About 2 years now, controversy, urban agriculture. They put it up for sale. Jocelyn found out more. You're watching Go Island, and today I've got the extreme pleasure of being part of the crew, sort of, on two of the Harbour Patrol boats for Nanaimo Port Authority here in our beautiful waterfront. Talking with Rod Grounds, who is the OIC for the Harbour Authority. Now, it's not just about being out on the water. There's a lot to it that has to take place back at the desk to make this all mesh, so to speak. So I want to find out what exactly are some of the things that you have to watch for and you have to work on all the time.
A lot of the things that I do is as far as the vessels and looking after the vessels, is manning and crewing, keeping the vessels in refit and getting itemized, so keeping the vessels conditioned and ready to respond.
I understand that these vessels have got to be operational 7 days a week, 24 hours a hour. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
So that's a lot. That's a big responsibility.
It is. I mean, we've got a close working relationship with the Nanaimo Fire Department, the City of Nanaimo, RCMP, and with joint taskings, water samples with the
Well, when you're talking about, you caught my attention there when you said you're working with the fire departments with the City of Nanaimo. So, Rod, what kinds of things do you have to do with them? I mean, I know some of the roles that this boat's got to be on standby for the ambulance, things like that, but we've got a lot of events that take place in our harbour besides it's a working waterfront. So how do you coordinate those things together?
Well, we have an event application process that for events like the snowbirds that are coming up in July, the bathtub race, the International Bathtub Race is coming, and even the Paddle Fest that just happened over the weekend. So all those events have different roles and responsibilities for our vessels and for other vessels. So everybody has to work together as a whole to be able to notify vessels, to notify the aircraft if we are going to close the harbor for a specific amount of time, to put on an event that is a safe manner. So it's just building all those layers.
And it probably takes about a year to build up to those big events too, to make sure that you got all the crew, staff, things like that. So it's very interesting. There's so much more to it, and can't possibly cover it all today, but we'll try to on Go Island. But finding out about, most people take dogs for walks, but actually in Colwood there is a woman who has a llama that likes to go for walks, and he even goes for a dip in the ocean. Jen Moranis has more. Today on Go Island, I've had the extreme pleasure of being able to go on two different boats here in the harbour. One is the Osprey, one is the Eagle. They're part of the Nanaimo Port Authority's Harbour Patrol, finding out what the responsibilities, the roles of their jobs are. Things like looking after the transient anchorages, as well as making sure there's no debris in the aerodrome, which is the seaplane flight path. All that and more on today's Go Island. Still ahead today on Go Island, a new aquarium opens in Campbell River, bringing opera to the stage, and a rainforest in the middle of BC. Still to come today on Go Island. I am aboard the Osprey, one of the Harbour Patrol vessels for the Nanaimo Port Authority, and I'm finding out what the jobs are that go along with protecting this working waterfront. Speaking now with Eric Ross, who is the launch master. Thank you for letting us come aboard today. I really appreciate it. Now, there is a lot that has to go into this job here with all of the area you have to cover, and it's been fascinating so far. So I want you to tell our viewers what some of your responsibilities are.
The main responsibility for the Harbour Patrol Division is the port's practices and procedures that are a guideline that's set out by Transport Canada in Ottawa that the 18 harbour authorities across Canada is mandate. That's basically with any large commercial traffic in the area that we monitor for pollution, environmental concerns, traffic navigation, making sure that they have the right tie-up lines on the deep sea vessels. Deep sea vessels at anchor aren't dragging anchor. They're showing the correct lighting for what they're loading or offloading. So basically it's the steward of the whole harbor, and we also do marine mammal transport. We have a lot of transient and local killer whales. We'll give them fair passage, make sure people don't harass them. And then we're also co-crewed with RCMP, Nanaimo Fire Rescue and BC Ambulance Service, Pacific Pilot Authority. We do all the launch taskings for taking the pilots to deep sea vessels offshore, Entrance Island, Snake Island, and all the anchorages, and any other government agency that we can co-crew with. So we'll bring a standard to that, and whether it's doing a check on a deep sea freighter with CBSA, which is Canadian Border Services. So we're a great port partner and a marine asset for the federal government.
There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of calls that come in. I mean, here's an emergency call in the background here.
Yeah.
Is that something you would probably address, but I can't go into that right now. So much to learn about what their responsibilities are here. But now we're on the water. Something that's coming up next on the show is finding out what's under the water. Marjorie Greaves had a chance to be at the grand opening for the Discovery Passage Aquarium in Campbell River. There is now a beautiful aquarium in Ucluelet, now one in Campbell River. Too bad Nanaimo doesn't have one, but I'm not really singing the blues because today I'm getting to go out on the Harbour Patrol boats here in Nanaimo. And talking about singing a high note, James Green finds out about a group in Victoria that is giving a new voice to opera on Vancouver Island. On today's Go Island, we're finding out about the jobs for Nanaimo Port Authority's Harbour Patrol. 2 vessels, the Osprey and the Eagle, and I'm going to speak with crew member Joe McDonough right now, who's going to tell me a little bit about the training they have to go through, as well as a demonstration we're going to find out about some of the fire safety things that you have to do here. So first off, Joe, thank you very much. And just tell me a bit about the training that you have to have, a couple of things you have to have for certificates and that.
Yeah, the few certificates you need to get on any working environment on the water. First, you need to have a radio operator certificate card, and next you have to have a small vessel operator proficiency ticket. And as far as that, you need a A1. It's a Marine Advanced Duties course, and that's just for basic safety on the water.
Now, talking about basic safety on the water, they've arranged for us today to get a demonstration of the fire suppression, and we're going to find out about the hoses, the foam, the things they do, and I just want to know briefly what that's going to entail for us today, Joe.
Yeah, so we've got our fire pump supplied to us by the city, and we work alongside the Nanaimo Fire Department. So what we have is a 300 gallon per minute pump, and we have the capabilities of pumping water and CAFS, which is a compressed air foam system. Yeah.
And you would be called to do that when there is like a vessel on fire that's at anchorage, or if there is something, a building maybe that they couldn't reach from the outside? Tell me.
Yeah, that could be used for either boat fires or even on land fires. We can act as a pump for Nanaimo Fire Department to go ashore, and we would supply their lines and pump, and they would go ashore and fight fire on land.
I know that there's a lot more that's involved with the training that you guys have to have, and I'm sure that there's people who would love to have your job. Hopefully we can convince somebody to take some training and become part of this. But I want to find out more about, okay, we're on the ocean. We know we have rainforest here on the BC coast, but did you know that there's an actual rainforest in BC's interior? On today's road trip, Casey Pitts find out about this ancient cedar rainforest in the heart of BC. What you're seeing behind me is a demonstration of the NPA Eagle doing some of its fire suppression activities here on the working waterfront. Just one of the responsibilities for the Harbour Patrol as they man the waters between Hammond Bay and just south of Dodds Narrows 24/7. You've been watching Go Island.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Matteo Salon.